Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the secondary weapon, the Sepulcrum. But before we start, let's go over our commenter board. The first and top commenter of the last video was the Gurgenschlurgen, and then we have our recent channel supporters here of Whoopty-Wham, Nice Bear, and Colonel 06. Thank you so much for your support. Unique and interesting things about the Sepulcrum is that killing enemies charges a bar that eventually will let you use the alternate fire, and 5 kills are required to fully charge that bar. Once that bar is charged, pressing the alternate fire will initiate a target lock-on mode where up to 5 enemies can be targeted. Firing the weapon will then launch homing bullets that explode in a 3-meter radius at those enemies. This weapon also has innate heat on the radial portion of the alternate fire attack. And then as far as the primary attack goes, the primary fire shoots 2 shots simultaneously that explode in a 1.6 meter radius. And also, weirdly, this weapon has an innate negative thing where it innately has minus 30% holster speed. Another unique thing to the Sepulcrum is that galvanized shot is multiplicative on direct hits on both the primary and alternate fire modes. And so we have a situation here where on our build, we still get a lot of value out of galvanized shot, but if you intend to use an external primer of some sort, you could get massive value out of galvanized shot. So just keep that in mind. Now let's go over the mods. Galvanized diffusion for multi-shot, galvanized crosshairs for critical chance, galvanized shot for status chance and damage, lethal torrent for fire rate and multi-shot, creeping bullseye for critical chance, prime target cracker for critical damage. In the next 2 slots, we're going to be making viral, so we're using the 60/60 toxic mod and the 60/60 cold mod to make viral. Now, if you have an external way to make viral already, maybe through a pet or a subsume, then instead make corrosive here. And that's going to be the 60/60 toxic mod and the 60/60 electric mod to make corrosive. Now, if you do make corrosive, you may be tempted to use the big primed convulsion mod. But I think in the Sepulcrum's case, again, we come back to galvanized shot being multiplicative. I really wouldn't want to overweight corrosive because I still want some other statuses to shine through so we can get more use out of galvanized shot. So maybe specifically for the Sepulcrum, I wouldn't recommend using prime convulsion. I would probably recommend using both 60/60s. However, I didn't do that testing myself, so you can kind of make that consideration yourself there. In the Exilus slot here, we're going to be using prime steady hands. This is minus weapon recoil. You don't have to use the prime version. You can use steady hands as well. And that's just because this weapon has a lot of kick to it. In the arcane slot, we're going to be using secondary merciless. This is 360% flat damage and plus 30% reload speed. A lot of times on weapons, especially weapons that are using galvanized crosshairs, we go with deadhead instead, secondary deadhead. But the Sepulcrum has a really painful reload. And so you really want to use secondary merciless at least, right? I mean, plus 30% reload still kind of feels bad on the reload, but it feels much better than without it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend secondary merciless over deadhead, specifically on the Sepulcrum. This is how you build out the secondary weapon, the Sepulcrum. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing for future content. So now we'll have a 5-minute gameplay portion showcasing the weapon, and when that's done, we'll come back to the orbiter and we'll give it its final score and rank. So I'll see you guys again after the gameplay. Alrighty, we're about to start this 5-minute gameplay portion up here. Let's go ahead and hack the terminal. We'll get into the Sepulcrum. Now, one of the keys with the Sepulcrum is not worrying too much about getting exactly 5 dudes. Just quickly get through that alternate fire and go back into your primary. If you spend too long like waiting to lock on to dudes, you're going to lose DPS out of it. So I just quickly go like that. I press alternate fire and it does its thing. If you don't exactly get, 5 dudes, maybe it only locks onto 4, no big deal. You're gonna have the alternate fire back up again really quick. It's like that. I think I only had 4 dudes, but that's okay. It's like the parent sequence is coming after me. And my aim is atrocious today. As soon as I said that, my aim got even worse. How is that possible? Get that Guardian Eximus out of here. He's really annoying. Yes, that's really the key with the Sepulcrum. Don't be baited into like sitting in the alternate fire for too long. Just quickly get it out there. It's definitely worth doing though. I mean, it does a crap load of damage. It has a almost double the amount of AoE as the primary fire does. Slightly better stats than the primary fire does. So it's still worth doing. It's just that you don't want to be sitting in it like forever trying to get the perfect lock-ons, because that's how you lose DPS on this weapon. I also think this is one of the coolest looking weapons in the game. It kind of looks like a big Space Marine bolt pistol is what I always think of. We got about a minute and a half left, and then we should be getting Thraxes here. Got another one of these stupid Guardian Eximuses here. Got a Leech Eximus somewhere behind us. All right, we'll have Thraxes coming up here. It's a pretty decent Thrax killer. The Thraxes went into their little ghost forms. They'll be back soon. Oh, there's that painful reload. All right. So that's 5 minutes, 365 kills. So we'll head back to the Orbiter now. Welcome back to the Orbiter, guys. So let's go over how the Sepulcrum did in its 3 10-minute runs on Steel Path Lewis Circulus. It got 710, 755, and 637 kills. And the 755 and the 637, they're kind of far apart from each other. I don't usually like that much of a difference. It shows that maybe I got very lucky or very unlucky on one of those runs. And you could argue whether the 755 is the high outlier or the 637 is the low outlier. But Regardless, this is why I do 3 runs, so I can just get an average of them. And if there was an outlier, it doesn't really matter too much. And so if we do the average of those 3 numbers, it's 700.6, which is just barely in the A tier for kill per minute potential. When it comes to single target, it's really good. It does great damage versus the Acolyte, especially if you're getting headshots. Does great damage versus Eximus and Thraxes. It has the little added benefit where the alternate fire also has innate heat on it. So, you get a little bit of heat procs on some of those single target enemies, and it helps a bit, but you can't really rely on those heat procs. You're not going to stack like 100 of them, for instance. You're going to get like 1 or 2 maybe. But just the chunky damage of it does really good against single target enemies. So single target, we'll give it A tier. When it comes to ease of use, it's not the easiest weapon to use. You're going to want to stack scope, so you need to aim pretty carefully for that. It also has the alternate fire mechanic, which is great, but it's very clunky when you first start using it. You don't really understand how it works. You're going to be like, what the hell is this weapon? This is so friggin' clunky. Once you start using it more, it becomes kind of like muscle memory. It's not that hard to use, but initially it's going to feel clunky as hell. So ease of use, I think we'll give it a high C tier for ease of use, but once you get a few games under your belt on the Sepulcrum, the alternate fire clunkiness is not going to be an issue anymore, and then the hardness of the weapon really just comes down to aiming and making sure your scope stacks are up. So yeah, C tier for ease of use. So that's my take on the weapon. Tell me what you guys think. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. All right, bye.